Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Wildcard weekend on DraftKings is here, and we have 3 different slates. We have a 3-game slate on Saturday, we have a 3-game slate on Sunday, and we have a 6-game overarching slate with smaller GPPs on it. 2 millionaire makers each on the 3-game slates, and all the cash games that you can play. So I'm going to go through and do our normal top stacks video. I'm just going to do it my top 4 stacks for the entire weekend. There's only 12 different teams, so going over 33% of the quarterbacks on the slate seems like it should be appropriate. I usually do 5. I'm going to do 4. If that makes you upset, drop a like on the video. If you're mad that I'm only doing 4, drop a like on the video. If you're happy that I'm doing 4 and you appreciate the content, also drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave a reply down below, share the video on Facebook, do all the click something. Costs you absolutely nothing. If you wanted to stay in touch and in tune with our community throughout the off season, where I'm still going to be putting out some NFL content, as well as we have Josh Lloyd from Basketball Monster doing NBA videos on the channel all season long, you can click that join button, get yourself a nice little VIP badge next to your name, some great emotes, and access to the VIP only rooms in our Discord channel. There will be a link in the description down below. Make sure that you click on that, jump into the Discord. There are free channels as well if you're not subbed, where you can have people to discuss daily fantasy, NFL, off-season, sports betting, basketball, anything. When MLB season gets here, they'll talk about MLB as well. It's an awesome community, and I would love to see you guys be a part of it. Also, on the second channel, I'll be doing some non-fantasy football related content, some podcasting during the off-season that we'll do the videos for, as well as box breaks, where we've already got a few up there. We've pulled some amazing cards out of some Prism packs, so go check out the second channel as well. That's it for the plugs. Let's get to the video. And we're going to start with the cover boy, Josh Allen, who, to be very honest with you, I go through different projections and I kind of track where things are as I'm coming up with my top stacks for the weekend from different sites. And I kind of have my own little totals and little metric that I put together for who the top stacks are. It's not just anecdotal. There is some projection-based advice that is involved with what I'm doing here with this video all throughout the season. So a good stack value for the way that I go about collecting and compiling this video is like 5 to 8, right? A value of like 5 to 8. No team has had a value of 10, and the Bills and Josh Allen double stacks this weekend have a value of 11.6. That is the highest on the season, not just on this slate, but overall. Josh Allen brings you a few things. One, this is the second highest team total on the weekend behind Baltimore, and it's only a quarter of a point behind. They're expected to score about 29 points, are the Buffalo Bills against Indy. Indy is very susceptible to the deep ball, and he gives you a great floor with his legs as well as ceiling in terms of rushing touchdown upside that we've seen as well. 37 passing touchdowns from him this year, multiple rushing touchdowns in multiple games, as well as 25 to 40 yards rushing on the ground. So if they pressure him, he can make it happen with his legs. Indy very susceptible to downfield passes, and that is where 2 of his receivers do very, very well. So let's go over to Rotogrinders. We're going to click on Buffalo here. We're going to build our team player groups, and they're shorter slates. So again, on a 3-game slate, you're going to break the rules. You're going to have more team stacks. You're going to have more things like that. On the 6-game slate, it's still a shorter slate than a normal 11 to 15 game slate. So all those things are going to be in play for you as well. We're going to X out our group here. Moss, Singletary, no. You know what? I'm probably going to leave the random tight end touchdowns in there because of the amount of random tight end touchdowns that get thrown from one Joshua Allen. But Dawson Knox is running the most routes and getting the most targets pretty consistently at this point. He would be my favored tight end target. Lee Smith catches a couple, again, random tight end touchdowns. But the ones that I really want to focus on here, is Beasley gone or did I cut him out? He's just off the list because he's still questionable. If Beasley plays, we're clearly going to use him in that group, right? He's not going to be X'd out of this group, but Steph Diggs is my number 1 target in this spot. John Brown, my number 2 target in this spot. And you can see their projected percentage in tournaments right here. They're going to be the 2 most popular targets. I have no problem double stacking here as there's enough volume to go around for both of them. And considering that John Brown's price, with the amount of volume that he saw, Beasley has done a great job in his absence, but now Beasley goes to being the number 3 option in the pass game, and John Brown should reclaim his wide receiver 2 role. And people look at the game logs. Well, he only had 4 targets last week, but like they only played like half the game. Looking at our bring back stack for this group, Basically going to utilize everybody that I think is in play on the Indy Colts. Not going to use Trey Burton. Might even exclude Jack Doyle from this, as I probably don't want to have too much exposure to them. Not going to include him. Might include the other guys, but I basically want T.Y. Hilton, and I think that Pittman is going overlooked for the price that he's at, offering you some value on the way back. This kid can go, and rookies do tend to take a little bit of a leap in the second half of the season in the playoffs, even though his volume has been down. It's a one-game scenario, so in 1 week he can get you 80 yards and a touchdown, especially as a one-off bring back sort of player. Drew Brees is our second stack because now the New Orleans Saints seem to be once again a fully operational battle system with Drew Brees at quarterback. Alvin Kamara likely coming off of the COVID-19 list. If he does not come off the list, then that's going to create a massive amount of value for Latavius Murray, who has been activated. I'm going to operate as though Kamara is active in this spot. If he's not, we easily pivot off of that by the time the weekend gets here. But the amount of catches that he compiles, as we've seen 83 this year, and that includes the games with Taysom Hill where he did not catch as many balls. And then we get the return, most likely, of Michael Thomas, who is designated to return this week. And at 6,400, he's massively underpriced against Chicago's defense. Chicago's defense, extremely good. Let's go over to Rotogrinders and take a look at New Orleans. I'm going to cut down this group. Only going to basically include the big guys that I want, and it's going to be about 4 of them. If you want to include these other wide receivers to try and get a little more differentiation, that's fine, but I'm sticking to Kamara and Cook and Thomas and Manny Sanders. Looking at the other side of the ball as our bring back players here, going to include David Montgomery, even though I think that it's more likely to have 15 points than 25, but you still have to kind of include him just as a bring back play. I'm favoring Cole Kmet over Jimmy Graham, and stay with me here for a second. Cole Kmet has outsnapped, ran more routes, gotten more targets than Jimmy Graham has over the second half of the season. Jimmy Graham had that big day a couple of weeks ago where he had 2 touchdowns and has had 3 touchdowns in these weeks that we've been prioritizing Kmet. Cole Kmet at this point of the season appears to me much like Logan Thomas appeared from weeks 2 through 8, where he was running all the routes per dropback, routes per or targets per route run, were all good enough to assume that there was a good fantasy breakout coming. And in terms of Logan Thomas, he did achieve that. Cole Kmet is the new Logan Thomas, the guy who is doing all the things on an underlying scale that should lead to a fantasy breakout, but he has not actualized that yet on the field, and he's still only 3K as a result, while Jimmy Graham, who has played less snaps, who has gotten less targets, is more expensive. So to me, Cole Kmet is very much in play this week. I'm going to probably not use Anthony Miller. Darnell Mooney is the perpetual value play at under 4K, especially with the amount of volume that he's gotten. Love him as a bring back play in this stack as well. But keep your eye on Cole Kmet as long as the Bears are playing. And if he doesn't have a good game this week, he's going to be way too cheap in drafts going into your 2021 best ball. So he'll be somebody that we're probably going to mention a lot this offseason. Third stack of the weekend, Lamar Jackson for the Baltimore Ravens. You know who he is. You know what he can do. You know how he runs the ball. We don't really need to do all that much analysis. I can add that he is also the playing for the Baltimore Ravens, who have the highest team total on the week at 29. And very condensed target tree. So we know where the ball is going to go when it comes out of Lamar's hands. It's essentially going to go to the steady but not big game having Hollywood Brown. He's got 6 touchdowns in the last 6 weeks, only missing a touchdown in one of those weeks. Hasn't really seen a big target share and hasn't really connected on a really big game. This was a guy who broke slates multiple times last year and has not done it this year. They were missing early in the year where he was open and Lamar missed him. He was dropping a couple balls where he was open and beyond the defense and didn't connect. And now he's been this very consistent, if unspectacular, player in fantasy. He has not had one game this year where he scored over 21 fantasy points, and last year he broke multiple slates, as I said before. Going over to fill this in over here on Rotogrinders Lineup HQ. There's a link down below if you guys want to join Rotogrinders, become a Core 4 member. You can use their basketball stuff as well for their projections, their premium articles, and their lineup builder HQ as far as it pertains to NBA as well as NFL. It's one price for all the things. They have a 1 week option if you wanted to give it a try before committing to a longer term. We're clearly not going to use the running backs. I am only going to use Andrews. You can include other guys that are basically touchdown or bust plays like Duvernay or Bryant Duvernay. If you're pairing them with the defense, try and get that double dip on a very lucky kick return. Moore, Boykin, same thing with these guys. I'm probably going to weight up Andrews and Brown as those are the ones that I want to have like 99 or 95% plus of my exposure to in Lamar stacks, as opposed to focusing on these cheaper luck box items where you need to get like a long touchdown out of Boykin, which is something he can do, or Des Bryant getting you a touchdown, because they're not going to get enough targets to pay off on volume alone. As bring back plays for this group, Big Dog is certainly in play. Jonnu Smith, definitely. Ferks are not really for me, at least not in this group, but I understand if you want to go there because of, you know, he has had good games this year. And focusing on this quad of players that I wanted to really focus in on. That's basically where we're going to go. And my last one, speaking of the opponent, Ryan Tannehill is a great leverage play for this weekend, in my opinion, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Do you envision any sort of possible way that where Derrick Henry is going to be massive chalk this week, and for good reason, right? Baltimore for the last second half of the season has been one of the bottom 10 teams in the league in terms of yards gained after first contact. They just have not been tackling well against opposing running backs. And we have Derrick Henry, who is outstanding and going to get 25 to 30 touches this week. But is there any world where Derrick Henry maybe runs for 95 yards and a touchdown, or 112 yards and a touchdown, and Ryan Tannehill is responsible for 3 or 4 touchdowns on his own? Maybe a rushing one and multiple passing touchdowns? I think that there is. And we kind of know where the ball's going when it leaves his hands. So when we click on Tannehill and we just kind of focus on fading Derrick Henry and leveraging off of him with this group, you can include Ferkser if you want. It's basically going to be the exact same group of players that we had before, excluding Derrick Henry. And I'm probably going to make sure that with this group, I'm stacking at least 2 of the players, because again, this is a leverage stack where we're saying, okay, we think Henry is not going to break the slate. He's going to have a good day, but not a great day where you don't need to have him in tournaments, while focusing on the other pass players in this group. And the bring back group here for Baltimore is going to include basically everybody. My preferred running back in this spot is going to be Dobbins. I'm going to keep this very simple on the way back and keep it 3 players between Dobbins and Andrews and Brown in my bring back stacks for Tannehill. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Drop a like on the video. Go check out the second channel. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.